how do I reflow all of the anatomy to this new pelvic bone? How am I going to go in there and start to adjust things so that they reconnect a little bit? Do I do it one at a time? Absolutely not. Use Transpose Master. So Z plugins, Transpose Master, and just click T-Pose Mesh. Okay, make sure before you do that, everything is visible that you want to convert, that you want to move. So I'm going to turn solo off, transparency off. Let's leave it on. I just need to see real quick. Yeah, we're okay. Alright, and then now we're going to send the whole thing over. You do want to go through this real quick though and make sure that none of these are named exactly the same. Make sure you've got separated names out for everything. Otherwise T-Pose Mesh can fail. So it might fail, and hopefully it does fail to some extent so I can show you workarounds. But the first goal is you just click T-Pose Mesh. Okay, it'll give you a little note that says, hey, we've created a T-Pose Mesh, and that T-Pose Mesh will be selected. You'll note that its name says T-Pose, so that's going to be important. And then your other model is going to be somewhere here. Hopefully you don't have multiple named models in there. So this one is, that's the male, so the name is different. The name for this is Anatomy M503. My T-Pose Mesh is T-Pose Anatomy M503. Fantastic. It's the low res of all of my different parts. Some of them do not go low res very easily, so you gotta keep that one in mind. And now what we can do is go in and reflow points. Now the difficulty here is that you can't really use transparency in the same way, so we're just going to turn this off. I'm going to make sure that the skeleton is masked. So because we're in Transpose Master, every subtool is its own polygroup. So I had to make sure that I selected the skeleton, so you can Control Shift on anything that's related, mask it, and then show everything else. And now you can go through and start to hide parts. And for example, this abdomen, I'm not going to change right now. These guys need to get changed. And in fact, it's pretty much a global move here. So I'm just going to use the move brush and move this all in and up slightly. Hide that trapezius. Sorry, the latissimus dorsi. We do not need that. Okay, I'm increasing the gluteus medius. The gluteus maximus is going to go a little higher. And then it's going to move in a little bit. And we're going to move that. Yeah, we're getting it. Move that tensor fascia latae and the sartorius. So I'm going to just get rid of everything else. And I'll do that with kind of a high draw size. Yeah, there we go. Okay, now the adductors. You have probably noticed that in females, okay, there's going to be a space between the legs, provided that there are no fat pads to kind of fill in the space. And one of the reasons why is because in a female sculpt, or a female, the pelvic bone is pulling outwards this way, so the increase in its width changes where these attachments would be. So in a male, we're going to start to really close that off. I'm not going to let that have the same distance. Now it's a little bit harder. Let's see if I can use transpose. Yes. We'll have to use transpose later. Don't want to use it with everything here. But you can use the move and just start to push in. Alright, especially here, the adductor magnus. It's going to get a little ugly. but that'll be better. Okay. So that's just attachment, not necessarily volume. Keep that in mind. I just changed an attachment. I did not go in and change volume. All right. I'm going to reflow where the tensor fascia latae ends. I'm going to reflow the rectus femoris. Okay, because remember, both of these guys had a whole sense that the leg was, or the great trochanter was hanging out here, where we've moved that in now. So the easiest way to do that is just with the move brush and just move that in. You might need to look at it from behind to get a sense of it, but you can always just look at it from a distance and you just undo. Okay, let's just mask out those arms. Saw the fingers moving. Okay, doesn't have to be a major change, but just enough. Okay, and so that's going to change that rectus femoris a little bit. Make it a little bit more linear. Okay, do I want to change anything else? Yes. The attachments of the gluteus medius. Okay. Need to change that. And what's really important to note is that I want it to kind of push in and be kind of on the inside of that that great trochanter. Whereas in the female, I let that kind of slope out the side a little bit. So keep that in mind. I'm going to continue this, and I'm kind of avoiding having the muscle develop a lot of volume up here, close to the ilium. I want to have it be a little thinner there. Just a little, not much though. Okay, great trochanter, or I'm sorry, the gluteus medius. Let's hide the skeleton and then hide the gluteus maximus. That's a good, easy way to do it. Okay, remember the butterfly? Okay, that's going to change slightly, but not that much. What does change is this section down here. Okay, you want to reflow that for the new femur, and for the fact that we're not going to have quite as much booty, I guess you would say. So I'll schematically do that here in a moment. Alright, so in the female, I was letting that flow outwards, and now I've kind of pushed it inwards a little bit. Okay. Experiment, try to see if you can find the rhythm, but whatever you do, keep in mind that the butts are pretty similar. You don't want it to be too different. You still want to make sure that you get the butterfly. It's just the lower wing is shaped differently, and the upper wing as well. So okay, I'm pressing Alt. Now I'm pressing Alt and pushing in that gluteus medius, and I'm going to add a little bit more to the gluteus maximus and give him a little lift. Don't make it go away, like don't do this. That's not going to work. That's a cadaver. It's basically no butt. All the volume and life has gone out of it. So don't do that. We're not going to go quite as Brazilian as we went with the female, but this guy's got to have something to shake it. And there we go. Okay. Pull out. Alright. Now, from a distance, what we're noticing is that the model looks still female, but definitely straight hips. But she still looks female, but it's very straight hips. Okay, borderline masculine, or borderline kind of an adolescent. boy. So this is where we need to start getting in and talking volume. Volume is going to be one of the key indicators here. And one of those key indicators, or those key areas of volume, is going to be the chest. So in the female, we've got a chest which is roughly 1 to 1.25 heads. So 1.25. Or actually, sorry, that's probably closer to 1. And in fact, why don't we just find out exactly what it is? Yeah, it's 1. And in a male, that's going to be different. So why don't we alter the size of the male's chest, and just alter the size of the male's chest and see what starts to happen without adding volume to the muscles or anything like that yet. We're going to just now go in and change one more bony part. Before we do that though, let's send our model back into our original one so that we are just constantly adjusting the skeleton and then moving things to fit. So I'm going to send it back by pressing T-pose to subtool. And then I'm going to let it do its magic. Okay, tells us it's done. Took about 1.5 minutes to make happen. And there is our high-res model with the adjusted pelvic bone. Or really the adjusted pelvic area. Okay, and so we're going to save it. And then we'll move on in the next video to adjust the rib cage.